At some point, are we gonna say, Rick, you nailed it again? Like, do you have a crystal ball that you can see into the future? Because yet again, I guess the winners, El Grenas and Team Chef Cesario, do go on to win. I will say for my game, some people may ask, I had the worst beat, I think, of my career. I scored more points than I ever have in any game ever in my life, and I lost by 2 because of Brandon Aubrey. I'm not that bothered by it, which is weird. I think I might be maturing and not attach my happiness to fantasy football anymore, which in one way is good, but in another way it's like, those are the fun days. Those are the fun days when fantasy was live. But would I prefer to win? Yes. And am I jealous of El Grenas and my boy Team Chef Cesario? Not really, because there's 2 teams that I believed in from the beginning that are continuing to play great football. And how could I say anything but congratulations? And let's talk about these games. So we had El Grenas go up against Electric. Everyone remembers that this is an El Grenas team we gave an A- to. We said top tier coming to the season. We also, though, with Electric, we said they were a mid team. And when Electric started going off, part of me was a little bit nervous. Like, did I miss the winner of this league? Did I miss it in the recap saying it was not a top team? And it seems like at the end of the day, no. You know, you could have a great season, but if it finishes like this, you know, you look back and you say, shoot. And we both had Joe Mixon, so I kind of feel it. Obviously, the bad luck with Jalen Hurts is a huge deal. But when it was a 64-point margin, that's just too much to, you know, look back on and have any regret. I mean, Shakir didn't perform for you. Drake London had Penix, so it was impossible for him to perform for you. You didn't get McLaughlin helping you at all. And for that, we say to Electric, it wasn't your fault. You played against a team that went off, and you had a quarterback that got hurt. So what are you going to do? For El Grenas, you know, without Stafford, you still found a way to go off because Gibbs, Bucky Irving, CeeDee Lamb, Mark Andrews, and this guy named Jonathan Taylor, who decided to get you 50.3 points. 50.3 points. Obviously, you are thrilled at peaking at the right time because, listen, Mark Andrews wasn't good for most of the season. CeeDee Lamb had some off weeks for sure. Jonathan Taylor has had an off season for sure. Atlanta defense wasn't a great defense all season, but you pick him in a perfect matchup. I had them as well, but and that's just good management. El Grenas deserves to be in the finals. You know, it's a team I saw potential in coming forward. I've had beef with him in the past, but it was out of respect. And, you know, I saw this coming and it came. I saw it coming and it came. The other game, Team Chef Cesario, like we've been saying all season, so I hope you're not just waking up to Team Chef Cesario right now. Another team I gave an A- to said top tier. And listen, when you perform so strong throughout the season, you either could have a bust performance or you just know you're going to have a good performance. For me, I saw what this guy had going on in his locker room, and I knew another big game was coming, and that's what happened. And listen, it wasn't all the guys he wrote throughout the season. It's not just the players, it's the manager. Plugging in Jerome Ford was fantastic. And then on the flip side, you have a guy like Saquon, who obviously all season's been fantastic. A.J. Brown's been fantastic. I gotta just give ultimate credit for good management. You know, obviously Brock Purdy was probably the only one I'd say was a little bit risky and a little bit lucky that he had a very good game. But for Brock Purdy to outduel Lamar Jackson, for Jerome Ford to outduel Josh Jacobs, and then you got Saquon out offsetting Najee by 30 points. I mean, it was a beautiful week. If these teams played 10 times, I think Team Chef Cesario wins 7 times, and that just is what happened. Anything can happen in the playoffs, but when you're this strong, it's hard. I'm looking at my notes pre-draft, who I said under Team Chef Cesario, I said my team. Mainly because we had some players in common, but also I felt I identified most with this team. And that's why I think we're seeing Team Chef Cesario in the finals. So we look towards the finals, and, you know, El Grenas' team leaves the week all healthy. You know, CD didn't really, he didn't re-aggravate his injury. If anything, El Grenas stock going up. I mean, Sharp's on the bench. You have bench options. Cade Otton could come back. I don't think you go Cade Otton over Mark Andrews at this point, but you just have options. For Team Chef Cesario, I mean, this is the team that I've been high on the whole year. But you have to think, like, without Kamara, what do you do? And then you got Debo on the bench. Debo is impossible to predict at this point. They're trying to get him involved, but one good week, is that enough to trust him? I don't know. I think the Kamara injury makes Team Chef Cesario vulnerable, and El Grenas, honestly, if I was a betting man looking at these teams, I think I'd put my money on El Grenas, especially, you say Tank Dell got hurt, and then Nico Collins isn't going to have a crazy game next week. I don't believe that. So I'm going to shock the world. Because of injuries only, I am going with an upset in the finals, El Grenas by 10 over Team Chef Cesario. And no one saw this coming. I've been writing Team Chef Cesario's you-know-what all season. I think sometimes I got to just go with my gut, and I'm going to go with my gut. And I just realized I'm wearing a sleeveless shirt for this recap, so enjoy the show, boys. It's hard for me to do, but it's what my heart says. So I'm going to have to just leave it with that. That's what I'm going to have to do. And then I wish I could recap the other games, but they're of no importance, right? I think that's what we came to. So El Professor gets 5th place over Dust in the Wind. Captain Crop beat Crucifier. Pain Train we went with Jared. But those games don't matter. So I don't know what to say. If there are any mentions of Rick in the notes, it doesn't look like people are really talking about me, which is disappointing. Even talking shit would be fun. No, I'm irrelevant. Am I not relevant anymore? Control find Rick. Just select Rick. I'm irrelevant. I'm gonna go.